And then we were surprised the day of the show. I got to meet Rob Van Dam for the very first time, and he was accompanied with Sabu. So both of them were there to wrestle the show, and since we were working for the company, we got to meet him backstage and everything. So I got a Jack's Ruthless Aggression signed by RVD, and I ended up getting 8x10 from Sabu, and both of them were as nice as can be. Just, I mean, was telling us all kinds of good stories on the road, and just a really good first, uh, meeting of wrestlers, and started a really good impression on me of like, because they always say, hey, don't meet your heroes. They could be jerks, stuff like that. But couldn't have been any nicer. It was a great experience, and it kind of, because I was collecting figures, still by then, but that sparked my collecting of autographs and going to meet and greets. So that's my first experience of the wrestling, meeting the wrestlers.
Awesome.
All right, very, very cool. Calvin?
So I don't really remember if we got anything signed, whatever. But 1994, Jacksonville, Florida, the night before WCW Clash of Champions. I remember we met Marcus Bagwell, the Patriot Stars and Stripes, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I don't really remember if we got anything signed, but that's like was one of my first experiences.
Cool. Ben Bowman?
Mine would be, of course, growing up. Always remember them coming to Kentucky for the National Guard armories. So they'd be at the armories. That's probably some of the early ones I remember actually seeing. But then there for a while, I was doing getting sports autographs. The older I got, because I kind of stopped collecting, but as my actual probably my first actual wrestling convention would have been in 2010 with the TNA lockdown pay per view in St. Louis, Missouri. Uh, I was able to uh, get actually the first, I think one of my first times too flying, flew to St. Louis. Uh, Back, and this is when they had actually TNA was actually really really good. Is when they had the Hogan, Flair, Sting. Uh, then they did the Dudley Boys, Scott Hall, and Nash. You had Kurt Angle, AJ Styles, all that. Like I said, for that experience, they hit a home run. They offered two items to get signed. So as my rookie mistake, I didn't have nothing to get signed. So they gave you TNA official promos, and then my other item was a signed steel chair. And I need to show that, but it's still at the house, and it's all signed up by all the ones that was there. So that was probably my first big one that I can remember.
TNA promos are actually very sought after now
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
What's up,
Yeah,
Dan Gleason?
What's up,
and the t-
Dan?
All
What
right,
about you, Will?
yeah, well, go
so
on,
just
brother.
just well, you guys, most of you guys know already. Macho Man was the first one I ever met in person, but one of the very next times I had the opportunity to meet somebody, it was actually Hercules. From the late '80s, early '90s, WWF Hercules. He was wrestling at a local skating rink here, and this would have been about '96. And I met Hercules, and I thought it was so cool because I had seen him wrestle on TV, got to see him wrestle in person, and it was really exciting. So that was one of my first experiences. However, it was really tough meeting a lot of people after that for a long time because after you meet the Macho Man as your very first autograph session, it's hard to compare that to a lot of others. And then, of course, later on, I met hundreds and hundreds of them, going forward. But I always think back to that Hercules session. There we were, just in a skating rink, and he had a little line, and he had his own little table promos. It wasn't back then you really didn't think to bring a lot of stuff with you. And now with Macho Man, I brought some items with me. I got my items signed, and I still own them to this day. But with Hercules, I got one of his little table promos signed. It was pretty cool. So very, very excited to tell that story. One other quick story with that too. The very next year, at the local high school, Jim the Anvil Neidhart was laid off from WWF. You guys might remember in '96 he got laid off in WWF because he didn't have anything to do with them until the new Heart Foundation started. So early '97, maybe late '96, somewhere in there. He was doing the independent circuit, and he lived here locally, so he was wrestling at the high school. And I met him, and I got his autograph, and he personalized it. Which, now looking back on it, I'm like, man, I wish he didn't do that. But obviously, it's a piece that I still have to this day. And then, like a couple weeks after that, he went right back to WWF, and he was on TV again. So it was really, really cool being able to see him in person, meet him in person, and have that kind of intimate setting where you could spend time talking to them and stuff. And a couple weeks later, they're on your television set. So that was pretty cool.
I want to share. I want to share also. When I met Ric Flair, I went straight from Flair and I went to James E. Cornette, and nobody was in that man's line, and I sit and talked to him for about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And of course, I said, he had figures there. It was his first figure from the Figures Incorporated. I think the one in the yellow pants. I don't know right now off, but I asked him. I said, "Man, how much? I want your figure, but how much would to charge it? Sign it? Will you charge to take a picture?" He said, "You buy the figure." He says, "I ain't gonna charge you nothing to sign it." He said, "We'll take a picture for free." So I paid $30 for the figure. That's how much he wanted it for it. So, and he signed it for free and took a picture. I mean, that was back like I was thinking it was 2017. I think Trish and Lita was there too, but that was probably was the first time that I've met wrestlers and in real life. So Ric Flair and then Jim Cornette. Jim was just fabulous. Rick he talked some. I said, let's put up all fours for the picture, and he's like, yeah, you know it, and so he talked some, but Jim Cornette, talked my ear off. Fantastic man to meet, just a gentleman. And you just don't see Jim signing any at all. I don't even know. I've never seen him come back to Rupp Arena, and I haven't seen since then. So I just wanted to share that story along with where I met Rick for the first time.
Very cool.
So what do you want to go through next? You want to go on and start our Roddy Piper conversation?
Yeah, let's get on it.
Right. Who would like to go first there? Manuel, you look like you want to go first. Oh, well, no, we got a volunteer. We'll go let Nick do it. I love volunteers. Thank you, Nick.
So I watched some of these matches recently to kind of get a refresher, and then also, kind of went outside of the box on some of them. But Brett versus Piper at Mania 8 was, a huge classic. I mean, you have two guys that, could just light up a ring like nobody's business. And especially with, Roddy's interview style, where he was talking about going to the Hart House when he was little, and
That was great. I love
yeah,
that.
Mrs. Hart making all them sandwiches.
I love that. That's what made the
That
match
cracked
unique.
me up, man. And Brett's sitting there the whole time trying not to laugh, and then you had Piper versus Mr. Perfect, December 28, 1990. Mr. Perfect, I mean, that speaks for itself. You had, Roddy was, more of a brawler, but then you had Mr. Perfect, who was, a technician, but they worked so well together. They played off of each other, and that was what's so good about Roddy is no matter who he was against, it looked like $1,000,000.
Right.
Whether he was just scrapping it with somebody or getting technical, he could. And Roddy wasn't a big guy, but he could hold his own. He was a decent sized guy, compared to a lot of the guys of his day. They were big and muscular, but I mean,
I'd face
for him,
big muscular before I would Roddy.
yeah. And then you got Piper versus the Mountie at Royal Rumble 92. Wins the Intercontinental title. You know, that was his, I believe that was his one and only Intercontinental title reign, correct?
It was.
Okay. But, you know, that was a really good match, really good pay-per-view. And, you know, for Roddy to, you know, get his first singles title in the WWF, I mean, it would be his only, unfortunately. But Roddy didn't need a title. He didn't need a belt. And that was okay. Same thing with Jake. If you don't need it, don't put it on him. Mania 5, Piper's Pit, Morton Downey Jr. Morton Downey was, of course, a talk show host at that time. His gimmick, his shtick was, you know, being an antagonist on his talk show, and he was blowing smoke in Roddy's face. And finally, Roddy, you know, he turned around and Roddy blasted him with a fire extinguisher, knocked him over. That was pretty entertaining. And my last one is Piper's Pit with
Nick,
Mr. T.
Hey Nick.
Yes. Yeah.
You know the backstory with that, right?
No, I don't.
So Roddy actually got mad about that whole that segment, and literally Roddy was going to hit him in the head with the fire extinguisher. And when Roddy, you'll see in the video, Roddy draws the fire extinguisher back, and outside the ring, I don't remember offhand if it was Gorilla Monsoon or whoever it was. They started. Bruce Pritchard started screaming, "No, no, no!" because he was going to hit Morton Downey in the head with the fire extinguisher.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, go back and watch it. Yeah, it was ready.
Yeah, I'll have to look at that. You got Piper's Pit with Mr. T. Now, this one cracked me up because I went and watched it. He did goofy little cartoons of the A-Team to make fun of Mr. T. And it was funny as hell. The type of stuff that he did to antagonize his guest was just so hilarious, and it kind of set the precedent for shows like Ms. TV, Carlito's Cabana. I mean, he was, essentially, he was before, one of the very first segments, I guess, that was of that style, which, Jake's Snake Pit ended up coming out of, and then Barbershop and, stuff like that. But just all in all, Roddy was what I would call a jack of all trades. He could do anything. He could talk. He could commentate. Like one of the commentating ones was when he was doing the match where, Virgil, come on, Virgil, you can do it. I mean, just some of the stuff that he just spit off. But those are my top 5. And rest in peace. I miss him still.
Me too.
I agree.
Hey, anybody want to answer this guy's question?
No.
Okay, good.
I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, I don't either.
Kind of a weird question to ask.
Yeah, just tune in on Sunday nights at 8 p.m.
Tuesday nights.
Tuesday nights, Ben.
Tuesday, Sundays. Yeah, when the tag champs are on, we got them.
Go and join the page here, and I'll share and I'll send you updates, and that'll get you started. Yeah. All right, Manuel, you want to share with us, buddy?
I'll go. I wasn't a huge Roddy fan, but I do got some moments that I remember.
Okay.
His celebrity is like celebrity wife swap. His celebrity wife swap. I do remember that one just because it was hilarious. Didn't he switch with Flair?
I think so.
He did.
And Piper and Flair is just like, your kids are awful. I do remember like Flair's like, your kids are awful. And Roddy's like, well, your kids are spoiled. Like they were still in character, I believe. And then the Alcatraz, the whole Alcatraz promo, that was pretty cool. He's in prison. He's fighting to get out of prison. Watching that as a kid, you're like, man, this guy's a nutcase.
Yep.
And then what? I can't remember the promo where he pulled his pants down. Like he just had hip surgery, and he kept punching his scar.
Oh yeah.
Was that the Hogan rivalry?
Yeah, that was when he was in WCW.
Going into Starrcade '96.
Like he's like pulling it down. He's like hitting his scar, and Bobby the Brain Heenan is like, the guy's officially lost it. He's like officially lost it. So I mean, those are the real only ones I really remember. And I remember the feud with Jericho when all the legends came back and fought Chris Jericho on Jericho's what was it, the highlight, what is this TV show on
Highlight
WWE, the
reel.
highlight reel.
Yeah.
So those are the only ones that I can really remember that were actually, I thought were pretty entertaining. But the Alcatraz one was probably my favorite.
That's
Hey,
a good one.
that's an awesome pick, man. Ray Hall says, anyone have any bubble gum?
I'm all out of bubblegum.
Yep.
I'm here to kick ass. All right, Brian, what you got, brother?
Well, that one's actually on my list from They Live. I mean, I think everybody knows that line of his. Came here to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of bubble gum.
Wasn't that voted like the #1 slogan in movies of all time or something?
I
Think
still
so.
like the fight scene where they beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone thought Roddy Piper would just be an absolute terrible actor, but he actually did pretty well.
Oh yeah, he did a lot of movies.
I don't know how anyone hasn't picked this one yet, but I'll take it. Piper's Pit, where he throws the coconut. Well, that's not throw, but hits Snook over the head with the coconut.
He knocked the shit out of him.
Yeah. Dr. Nick already said this one, and I think Manuel did too. But WrestleMania 8 with Bret Hart, the Intercontinental title, that was a great match. I also said Morton Downey Jr. as well when he blew smoke in his face, and now I didn't know he was going to hit him in the head with the fire extinguisher, but that's good information to know now. I got to rewatch that.
I'm telling you right now, that's a true story. Go back and watch it. I'm telling you.
And then
Downey grabbed his leg.
and then
Downey
and
grabbed
then-
his leg.
And then I'm gonna throw it back to WCW days when he came back at Halloween Havoc '96, the Icon.
Sure.
It's true. Hogan never pinned him, right? So I mean, that was a great comeback for him. And they have an Ultimate figure for that. Well, I guess that's Reality Check, but I think he's wearing the Icon shirt too.
Yeah, it's one of the alternate shirts.
So I thought that was a great comeback for him. When he
I
came
really
out
think
at
they
Halloween
dropped the
Havoc.
ball by not making that a title match. I was sitting there watching.
It didn't have to be.
No, I was wanting it, sitting there watching it, thinking, how many he's won. I'm thinking it's a title match. And
There was so much, history with that it didn't even need a title. It just So that's my 5.
all right, fantastic picks. Hey, Will, how about you?
Is it my turn?
It is.
All right. So very first one, and man, let me tell you, it was hard to only pick 5 because there's so much I left out. The very first one is Piper and Bob Orton picking up the Tahiti Kid
I don't know.
and shaving him. Oh my God, that was so funny. Because if y'all don't know or don't remember this, it was a little tiny little person, and they picked him up and were holding him in like a body press hold, and Piper's shaving his hair off, and the little Tahiti Kid is kicking his feet trying to get free while he's getting his head shaved. It was the funniest shit, man.
I gotta watch that.
If you have not seen it, Kev, you got to find the link after this and send it out in the chat. It is the funniest shit, man. This you would have thought they were really hurting this little guy. You know what I mean? It was hilarious. Number 2 for me, and this is one that I don't think anybody else would have got. But Piper, right before WrestleMania 1, Piper goes on set to where they're doing some filming. I can't remember if it's Saturday Night Main Event or if it was Wrestling Challenge. But Piper goes on set, and the chair is sitting there, and on the back of the chair it says Mr. T. And Piper goes over and he goes, "Oh, I guess they had to put your name on it so you knew where to sit." You know what I mean? Just the insults and the digs that he had were so personal. Number 3, yeah, I picked the same one that Brian did, The Return. I actually got this out. This isn't in the best condition, but I think I'm going to go ahead and spend the money and get it signed anyway, because it's absolutely one of my favorite covers of all time, with Piper returning at Halloween Havoc, and there he is against Hogan to set up the feud. Not in the best condition, but man, to me, it's perfect. You know what I mean? But him returning there at Halloween Havoc was such a surprise. Nobody knew back then what was going on. And, just hearing Piper's music hit, him coming out and telling Hogan, "I'm just as big of an icon as you are. You never beat me." And Hogan finally says, "I guess we need to have the war that didn't settle the score," in reference to, almost 10 years earlier, or 11 years earlier, where they had the big match that was the war to settle the score, where there was no victor. So, that was huge. And then I think probably, looking back, WrestleMania 8, one of my favorite matches of all time, and not just for the theatrics before the match. Bret Hart grabs a hold of him and says, "I would have had you," and Piper pulls the duct tape out of his waistband and says, "No, you wouldn't." You know what I mean? So obviously the build up to that match, and of course that to me was Piper's best wrestling match of all time was against Bret Hart. I mean, any match you ever watch with him is good, but there's never been another one that I've seen that has truly been that good. Piper, goes through all the emotions. You go through all the highs and lows that we've talked about before in wrestling, where he goes and he gets the ring bell and he's about to hit Bret Hart with it, and Bobby Heenan on commentary screams out, "What the hell? Use the bell!"
I
So
remember.
I mean, it was so emotional. And Piper decides, I'm going to throw the bell away and I'm going to put him to sleeper. Ends up getting his shoulders pinned, which is something you never saw with Piper. Never saw him get pinned back then. Never saw him get beat. And then probably last but not least, and it was really hard to go through all these, but last but not least, Piper and Lawler, King of the Ring 94, and Lawler for weeks and weeks just talking shit about Roddy Piper because Piper had been the special guest referee for the main event of WrestleMania 10. And finally, you see this video pop up on the screen, and Piper's like, "All right, tough guy, you want to sit out there and run your mouth? You want to fight? I'll fight you." And just the feud that built up between him and Lawler from that. They only ever had that one match, but it was a great match. It was a great story told, and definitely sorely missed. And on a personal note, a lot of you guys have heard me say this before, but to this day, out of every single wrestler I've ever met and ever spent time with, Piper has been and still is my number one out of everybody because the way he treated myself and my family when we met him. He was 2 hours late getting there, and we were waiting in line that whole time. We were at the front of the line, and we got up there and we were trying to get our stuff signed and get our pictures taken and stuff, and we were trying to hurry up. And he says, "Oh, don't worry about it. You guys stay here as long as you want. We'll keep talking." And he talked to me a lot about some matches and some different things. And, his handlers were trying to tell him, "Hurry up, get these people out of here. You got a line, these people are waiting, 2 hours." And he said, "I tell you what, go see whoever you're going to see or whatever and come back by and hang out and talk." And, I mean, just a tremendous opportunity. We took a lot of pictures together. And, he told me, he said, you should be really proud of your family. You got a great family there. At the time, I had my two older girls, and my youngest girl was probably a week old or 2 weeks old when we went and met him. So it was really, really cool. And of course, he passed away a year later, and it was a very touching loss for sure. But to this day, still, so far at least, my favorite to meet is Roddy Piper, and that goes above Hogan, Flair, Brett, all the other
Wow.
ones. Piper was my favorite. So.
Fantastic. Appreciate you sharing all those stories. Calvin, how about you, bro?
So, I mean, I wasn't really a big fan of Piper, of course, but the ones that I did get, WrestleMania 1, which should have been a singles match instead of a tag match
I
with
agree. I
Piper,
agree.
Yes.
and
I
I
agree.
mean, it was a horrible tag match. So, on both teams' behalf, WrestleMania 2, Piper and Mr. T. Uh, let's see, Monday Nitro, 1999. I believe where Piper beat Bret Hart. I believe that was one of his last single titles for the U.S. title.
Yep.
And WrestleMania 30, where there was a truce between Mr. T and Hogan with Paul Orndorff and Piper. Piper made Orndorff shake Hogan's hand.
Yep.
But that's all I got.
That was a good one though, man. WrestleMania 30, that was a good one.
We got some trash talk going here, buddy Trumbo. Come on, y'all fill me in.
What's up,
I
buddy?
don't, I don't
No,
know.
he's a good friend of mine.
He's a friend of mine.
Sissy.
He's a friend of mine of Ben's, but his comments are irrelevant to me at this moment.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Ray said I liked his short stint with Flair as tag champs.
Yeah, WWE. Yep, I
That's
believe.
actually
Yep.
one of my picks. That's awesome.
Hey,
Mr.
hey, isn't that when he was in the ring dancing with like Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair and all them?
Yeah, they all were
Yeah.
in there. That was a
They were all
Sabre
dancing and
Sunday.
shit.
They're all
Mr.
gone now. The four
I
of them
know.
are all gone now, I think,
Well,
except for Flair,
Except for
right?
Flair. Yeah, yeah. That's
Mr. Paul
crazy.
Bowman. Ben,
He's on mute.
Sorry, I had to mute. All right. So of course you cannot. I mean, I'm very thrilled that we're actually discussing Roddy Piper because one of my true all-time favorites. You want to talk about a guy that was actually known the name as heel. He was probably the top heel of all time, and this MJF bullshit who thinks he's a heel, he's not. No Piper. Piper is original. Piper is the man. And like I said, I guess my top 5 Piper moments. Like I said, I feel bad because I'm not at home. I have a ton of Piper stuff, and I'd love to show here. But to talk about, he's a trailblazer. One of the very first ones I could ever think of. Marion, you gotta stop talking, baby. First one you ever gotta that you think of is a wrestler transitioning to doing movies. They Live. Even though some of the movies ain't like popular or Oscar winning movies, but They Live is a great movie if you haven't seen it.
fabulous.
And then speaking of a movie, who would ever thought his penis would save the world? In
Hell comes to-
frogs called frogs come to Helltown.
Hell comes to Frogtown. Hell comes to
Hell comes to
Frogtown.
Frogtown. Had it backwards. Actually, I just actually watched it this year for the first time and did not realize that. And like I said, it was actually an interesting movie. For if you have not seen that, it would be a one to check out. But
Frog comes to
Trailblazers, yes,
Frog
and
comes to Helltown.
well, there's frogs. There's
I'm
penis
messing
save
with
the
you.
world, whatever. It's a cold cluster, but you have to see it. But that's number one. Being the movies. Number two, of course, it's another trailblazer. Who could ever think of one of the very first talk shows on wrestling? It had Piper's Pit. So he had a lot of memorable moments on there, like making fun of some of the jobbers that popped on there with Mario or Luigi or whatever that guy's name was, that Italian guy at the very beginning, and then
Asking
beat
for
the
you
hell
for
out.
Columbus.
Yes, and then just hitting Snook over the head with a coconut. Like I said, that was like reality right there. That was an actual real coconut. And
Well, and not only that, remember the backstory. He was afraid Snooker was actually going to fight him. So
whoop
as
his ass.
Snooker got up and came towards him, he ran behind the steel door and closed the steel door.
Now that's number two is the talk shows. You have the movies. The third one, for me as Piper, if you want to get into wrestling matches, for me, I enjoyed his WCW run. Hogan could never beat him, and it's you'd hard never imagine that Hogan that was his only one he couldn't beat. But eventually Hogan, by technicality, would win, but not to lose the belt. He should have been a world champion. Should have been either in WWF, WCW, wherever he was at. He should have been a world champion. They never, he never got that accolade. I wish he would, because technically he did beat Hogan in a sleeper. But that's another story. But he should have been a world champion. Famous promos. He had so many promos. You can't just pick one. So I would say, one of the best on the mic. And then the last one for me is still probably to this day, as collectors, one of my favorite pieces that I have as for figures is the They Live NECA figure. To me, I felt like that was a lot better than what they made with the Legends or the Elite. That NECA figure, just that one with the shotgun.
is.
Yeah, that thing is beautiful.
Yeah.
But
I actually have it right here on the shelf behind me.
Hot Toys is making one of him.
yeah,
Yep.
But those,
I'm looking at
but
mine right now on the wall.
yes, but those are probably my favorite Piper moments.
Well, those are fantastic. And
Yeah.
right now, because I don't have it, so nobody else has mentioned it, but Kevin Van Gelder, one of the most famous ones, the moment where he about Bad News Brown, and he painted himself half black,
Yep.
and he
And he
couldn't. Then
couldn't
he
and he
it
couldn't
was
get the paint off for days.
Andre the Giant and Arnold Skolin messed with him and
Yep.
emptied the solution out, put water in it, and he tried to scrub and couldn't get it off. So he was getting on the plane, and everybody kept on looking at him. And the
Yep.
stories he was bringing his kids a mini Mickey Mouse home, and he said, they couldn't fit him up in the compartment. He said, "Give Mickey a first class seat." And he was half black, and everybody was staring at him. But when he painted himself, he could not get that out, and he said that everybody thought that he was pointing. He said what he was trying to do was do a Michael Jackson dance at the very beginning of the match. He said, but it
Yep.
didn't turn out that way.
Yep. And also, somebody commented before, Kevin. I think it might have been Robert Burdick said
Let me go.
something about Roddy
Son.
starred in Walker Texas Ranger with his
Oh, yeah.
son Colt as well. So another
Okay,
great moment, another great Roddy moment.
that's awesome. Well, I'm gonna pull up my list here because I went on and wrote them down. So I've got Piper's Pit with Snuka. Once again, we've already talked about that, but Will brought that up. Is Piper knocked the hell out of him, and Snuka was going to kill him. I mean, if you can
Yeah.
see, you all go back and watch that clip. Piper going in that steel door. Snuka is going like right. That runs right into that door. He wants him. He wants to kill him. I mean, that's some legit stuff. I also have because they were on the Bill Maher show. Piper pretty much pulled down his pants, showed a scar on his hip to Bill Maher because Maher was trying to tell him that wrestling was fake. It was him, Sting. I think Medusa was there. It's when WCW was still going.
Yep.
And Piper just dropped his pants and just showed Maher right there what he had. Piper did not care. So during the segment, which we talked about when Piper, debuted and confronted Hogan, I love the part where Vincent, he was coming up there to act like he was bad, say something. Piper looked at him, he said, "Son," "don't mess with me. I taught you how to fight."
That's right.
Because that's when, I don't know who it was. One of y'all said it was Nick saying to go Virgil, and they had those vignettes where he was fighting, and taught him how to fight.
Yep.
So that's what he said, and that just always remembers to me. I love that. And then I have Piper and Bob Orton Jr. shaving the short guy, same one Will had. And then I have one that Ray mentioned. It was winning the tag titles with Ric Flair, because that was was Cyber Sunday. I know it was Tabby Tuesday. They changed it to Cyber Sunday. And the fans got the shoes, and they won it from the Spirit Squad, I believe. Don't hold me to that, but I'm not for sure. So those are my picks. Does anybody have any honorable mentions you'd like to discuss? Or
I think Calvin was probably the only one that mentioned WrestleMania 2, where, it was T and Piper with the boxing match. And what made that so great was Piper got mad again, lost his temper again, and picks up the stool from the corner, and throws a stool and actually hits Mr. T with the stool from the corner, telling him to fight him. And, they didn't know what to do. They were like, should we stop the match? Should we not stop the match? Should we keep filming? And then, of course, Piper had enough of it, goes over and picks him up and literally slams him. And then finally they were like, all right, call this match and get him out of there, because, Piper was not a fan. He told me this in person. It's a true story. He told me in person he was not a fan of non-wrestlers, the guys that had not paid their dues, getting in the ring with wrestlers. He was not a fan of that. He never was a fan of that. And, he didn't mind doing what he had to do for the business and getting in the ring with them, but he wanted them to actually wrestle him, and go full strength and full on contact. And a lot of these guys wanted to go out there and try to make just a big show out of it, and he wasn't a fan of that. So that's a good honorable mention.
Yeah, I didn't know about it until years later that him and T had real beef.
He told me in person, one-on-one, just like we're talking right now about him and T. So it was true.
I
It was
don't blame
real.
him.
Yeah, it wasn't fake.
You know, there was a lot of stuff. I mean, Piper really, really messed with Mr. T. Some of the stuff
Yep.
he said you can't get by with on TV anymore. I
Yeah,
mean,
True.
you just,
yeah.
you know, he made a comment. He said, you know, he said, how can you take serious a man that wears more chains than his ancestors? You can't
Yep.
say that now. I probably just got
Correct.
in trouble for saying it.
Yep.
Yeah, Zuckerberg's going to shut you down.
Probably
He also
so.
did the.
But, I mean, but it
He
was
also
said.
had
That's
the,
what he said.
yeah, he had controversial with Goldust too. You know,
Yep.
Yep.
You know, but I love that. I love that match. But what you can't call it a match, I guess. You can
I'll
call it
still
what you
never
want.
forget Piper being on the hood of that gold Cadillac.
Yeah. And to hear
Him driving
Dustin
down
talk
the
about
alley.
it, Dustin's like, "Move, Roddy. Roddy's not moving. Move, Roddy. Roddy's not moving.
Yep.
He didn't move."
Nope.
Yep.
So, all right, guys, you all want to go on a show and tell?
Let's do it.
Hell yeah.
All right, I'm going last. That means
Okay.
the Guru Manual is up first.
I'll just show a couple pieces. I got these from the great Ben Bowman. So here's one of the
The barbershop. I like it.
barbershop.
Nice.
Probably thinking about getting this sent off to good old Sean to get a grail. And here's the other shot that I got from Ben.
nice.
Hell yeah. That's the one where he dove through the window in an act of cowardice.
Yep.
Active cowardice.
Right.
And then
He was scared.
everybody knows I've been asking for heavenly bodies forever. And Ben was gracious enough to get, I mean, of course, you know, Jimmy Del Rey doesn't sign anymore, but Dr.
That's
Tom
awesome.
does.
Yeah.
Nice.
You know, maybe by the act of God, I can probably get James E to do it.
You'd have to send it in. I think he does send ins, but he don't
Yeah,
do no signing.
I looked on his website. He does do send-ins at very reasonably priced. So I'm thinking about maybe getting that in. But I'm sure you guys know a guy who can probably get Jimmy Del Rey as well, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, we'll talk about it after the pod.
All right.
See on his on that, show them that photo real quick. But I had Dr. Tom Pritchard put Heavenly Body
bodies on it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
because we like that's one thing as a collector I like if we can get inscriptions, especially with the team, and that's just another special thing right there
Those
too. Inscription.
the heavenly bodies. Jimmy Del Rey was so underrated, I believe.
Mhm.
He was
Also
so
known as
under-
Graffiti. What was his first name in WCW? Yeah, Jimmy Graffiti.
Yeah, Jimmy. Yeah.
But Jimmy Del Rey would do that cocky ass dance with his stomach.
Oh, that
and it-
gigolo, the
Yeah.
where he thrust it. Oh yeah, but it was so funny.
That was cool.
Oh yeah, that is probably one of my favorites. That's all I got. I got more, but I'm gonna hold off.
No problem. I appreciate you for doing that, Brian.
All right, I got a couple things to show. So I got this from Will. Lex Luger. I love this shot.
Oh, yeah. It's
Oh,
such
wow.
a beautiful shot.
Nitro in the background,
Yep.
throwing up the too sweet.
You could never have too much Lex.
No.
It's a
the white
good
pump,
looking.
too.
It's
Love
a
that.
good looking photo too, man.
Yeah, perfect.
And Lex has such a beautiful auto.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Even still with his hardships, he still writes a beautiful signature. So, and then I got this in from Mattel. It shipped early. But I got this, and this is badass.
Oh yeah. Mine should be coming probably tomorrow.
So,
You know, I really like those. I didn't pre-order them. I didn't think I would like them. I didn't think they turned out that well as they did.
no.
Did you
and look at
pre-order
soft goods.
the Imperium?
No, fuck that.
No. How about the what was the one they announced recently for them on there?
Dudley Boys.
Yes.
I'm getting them,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Well,
it's
the
just
end
another
of the
pre-order.
month. The end of the month, you got Ricky, Steamboat, and DiBiase, right?
Yeah, I can't
Yep,
wait for
the
those.
Coliseum collection.
Yeah,
That's
gotta have those.
that's probably when I'll order my headbangers.
Hope y'all ain't waiting for them outsiders. Them suckers are delayed again.
We don't want to talk about it, Dr. Nick.
Yeah.
I know it upset me too, man.
The last thing that I pre-ordered was the Waylon Mercy the Hasbro Retro or whatever.
The Hastel toy. Yeah.
Yeah.
That thing's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it is.
Another sour subject is the Bobby Heenans too.
Yeah.
Going in.
We paid for them a long time ago.
See, Ben, you're
Yep.
making Will sad. Stop saying stuff.
I know.
Yeah. Welcome back, Ben. Damn it. I'm glad you're being interactive and part of the show, but shut up.
But that's all I got.
All right, appreciate you, Dr. Nick.
So I thought I might start this out with a bang. I've had this for a while, but it took me a couple of years to find it. I got this in Indy this year, and since we're talking about the band, why not? So this is before they would do the magazines every month. They would combine 2 months. This is the February March of '85. So this was the year I was born. WWF magazine with
Nice.
Piper on the front.
Sweet.
This thing is mint. Like there's not a wrinkle, scratch, nothing. And I wish that he was still alive to get this signed. That would just be such an awesome piece.
Yes, it would.
So I got some stuff. This was actually on clearance, believe it or not, because I wasn't paying full price. I got the Maivia Legacy Pack. My Walmart actually had it on clearance for $30 instead of the regular $70.
Oh wow.
They only had one left.
That's not
Before
bad.
that, I mean, they
That's
just.
bad. I'd pay it.
$10
for that.
a figure.
I got Series 149. Eddie. This one was kind of hard to find. I got the Maxine Dupree.
My Walmart has like 6 of her, and that's all.
This one was kind of cool. The Translucent Suit 149 Miz. I got the Supreme Sting.
Great figure.
I actually got 2 because I think I'm gonna.
Ben has one of those. He got it signed
Oh.
in purple, man, and it is drop dead gorgeous.
I'm thinking
Oh,
about
yeah.
getting my extra one signed by him. I got the Kane and Mankind 2-pack, and then I got just 2 more things real quick. I got special edition Darby Allin, and this one I was really happy to find. I got the Devil MJF.
It's a pretty figure. I got that same
Yeah.
figure. It's pretty.
So that's what I got for this week.
Nick bought out the whole Walmart, didn't he?
Yep.
Ray
That's
says
probably all they had in the whole section.
that ass.
Yeah. Probably
You
did.
ain't
That's all they
getting-
had.
Don't forget he got fussed at too.
Yeah, you got that woman was right, Dr. Nick.
Yes.
You're too old to be buying figures. You're the reason her boy can't get figures.
I know
Think
that's
you
what
mean-
she was thinking too, man.
Damn
I think
resellers.
You mean that bitch?
Yeah.
Should have minded her own business.
Damn resellers.
All right, real quick, my turn. I'm gonna try to go as quick as I can. So, one thing, this past weekend, I was out after the hurricane, and couldn't go anywhere for a few days, but we went out, and sometimes Jess and I like to go into the old antique shops, and a lot of you guys, especially right here in the chat, know that I'm a big cowboy fan. Not the Dallas Cowboys, but an actual Wild West cowboy fan.
Yes, sir.
And we were in an antique shop, and this is an old, probably, God, I don't know how old. I would guess 75, 80-year-old wooden hand carved, where they would carry the whiskey barrels, and it's really cool. So we saw it in the antique store. I loved it, but I wasn't going to spend the money because some of y'all know too, I don't like to spend a whole lot of money on myself, and it's just one of those things where it's just super cool. And we left and went out to the truck. We were leaving, and Jess went back in, said she wanted to look at something real quick. So she went back in, she bought it for me, and ended up bringing it home. But it's just so cool. It goes really good with my cowboy collection. I got a lot of cowboy figures and statues and covered wagons and stuff like that. So
That's awesome.
I showed this the other day in the chat, but I'm not sure everybody got to see it, so I'm gonna show it one more time. This is an original WrestleMania 3 poster. This is the real deal. WrestleMania
Oh, wow.
3.
Hey, I need that.
Signed by Hogan. It's the only one I've had. I've only ever seen 2. There's not many of these that survive. So they put these up in a lot of different places to advertise the event back then. Let me try to show it a little better. And you can see here it was advertising to come see them at the Pontiac Silverdome. There's no real, pay-per-view or anything like that on there because back then it was all about CCTV. You go to the movie theaters and watch it on CCTV. But this is an advertisement for the WrestleMania itself at the Pontiac Silverdome, not like a WWE produced poster or anything like that. 100% original from 1987, signed by Hogan. Got the certification on the bottom. I had it framed, and I showed it the other day. I just wanted to make sure that I got the opportunity to show it one more time because it is super cool. And then I got some figures in today from Ben, so I'm going to be building my Disciple finally. And then I was able to pick this up at Target, just because. I mean, why would you not pick up a tugboat on the Legends? So, and that's all I got to show them.
We want to see you rip the Harlem Heat open.
They're still in the box. It's all bubble wrapped up and stuff. But
okay.
I opened the box earlier, but I didn't even take the bubble wrap off. I've been busy. But I'll get you some ripping figures next week. But I just wanted to show that stuff, and I really wanted to show my cowboy, hand carved wooden statue because. I mean, stuff like that to me is just super cool.
Yeah, that's
well,
really
dude,
cool.
you know me, and I love cowboys, too. So, yeah, that's an awesome pickup. That is very, very awesome.
Not the Dallas ones, right? The actual real
No,
Wild West.
Yeah,
No,
the real Cowboys, not the.
He means John Wayne. He likes John Wayne, the John Wayne Cowboys.
Yeah, not the Jerry Jones ones.
No.
Yep. That's cool though, isn't it? I don't know how old it is, man. It's hand carved out of wood, but you can see the age on it. So, I mean, I would guess 70, 80 years old, maybe older.
And I'm finally catching on to William. He likes to say he doesn't like to buy stuff for himself, but then he gets Jess to just buy it for him. I like that trick. It's pretty nice.
I didn't even have any idea she was going back in there for that. She said she wanted to go back and look at something else real quick, and I said okay, and we were leaving.
I'm just Miss Jess is awesome.
Yeah, man, she went back in and bought it. She went back in and bought something else for me too. I was trying to be quick, but y'all just keep enticing me to show more stuff.
We got plenty of time.
I got this too.
Oh, that's
it's
cool.
Actually it's designed to be an ashtray.
Wow.
But it's talking about the design of the Colt Peacemaker. There's a description inside here. I don't know if you can see it. It's actually talking about when the Colt Peacemaker was made, but it's an ashtray.
Huh.
And it's just old as dirt. The back of it's like all cracked at some point. It cracked, and somebody drilled holes in it to hang it on a wall. And I don't know. I mean, some of y'all been with me and gone into random toy stores or antique stores, and y'all know I like looking at all kinds of old stuff. So, I mean, I got some cool stuff, but y'all get off me, get on to somebody else.
William, Kevin asked you a question.
Initials on it or anything?
No, not that I could find. I mean, there's a couple little marks, but it's so old that it's like maybe it kind of like rubbed off or wore off. I don't know. You can tell it's old. I mean, it I don't know. It's weird. Like on the barrels, it has like a HB or a JB. You probably can't see that in the camera.
Hold on,
it has initials.
Let me click on you.
Has initials on the barrel, but even on the bottom, there's no initials or anything on the bottom. And a lot of times when they do like reproductions of this stuff, they'll have like some felt on it and stuff. There's no felt on this or anything like that. So
dude, that thing is awesome, William.
You can tell it's old. I like old stuff, man.
Just think of how long that took somebody to make that for,
I know.
That's awesome.
It's crazy. Thank you.
Very, very beautiful. And shout out to Jess. She heard just like Will. They're both selfless.
Yep.
And Jess found something, and she sent me in my box of fire that I got. I don't have it close to me right now, but I will show it sooner or later. And it's fire and the best mail day that I've ever had.
Yeah, on my damn birthday.
Yeah,
on my damn birthday.
I was waiting for
on Will's birthday, she bought it for me.
Yeah, she was like, "Hey, look what I found for Kev." I'm like, "Hey, it's my birthday. What'd you find for me?" You know.
She's
So
like, yeah. She's like,
You
yeah,
mind if
oh
I
well.
show one more thing
Go for
go
it.
ahead, Nick.
real quick? So I also like going to flea markets and collecting old shit. My dad actually found this for me. I collect a lot of probably didn't know this about me, but I collect old advertisement stuff like
Okay.
restaurants and different things. This is a 1986 convention Wendy's clock that was
Oh
given
wow.
out to employees only.
Pretty cool.
This will actually go with like I have a old clock from McDonald's that has like the Hamburglar on it. Uh,
That's really
I just
cool.
like old advertisement stuff from 70s, 80s, things like that.
All right. Well, since we're digging in here, let me tell you about one more thing. So last year, forgive me, Kev, if I say the year wrong, but I think it was last year for my birthday. Kev found me an old toy Dodge City, Kansas Matt Dillon badge from like Matt Dillon used to wear on Gunsmoke, the
Oh,
badge,
I love Gunsmoke.
and it was so friggin' cool. I had it encapsulated because it was
That's
so
beautiful.
cool. I mean, and you see those every once in a while. I mean, I probably see maybe three in my whole life, but you see them every once in a while, and they're just beat to shit. And this
Yes.
thing was in really good shape, looked really good, and it was probably, I don't know, what do you think, 70 years old when you found it, Kev?
Yes.
Yeah, it was old and it's gorgeous, man. So
And it was just meant for me. I knew it was right for him. I mean, and I'd seen a couple without the pin, but
yeah,
that has the pin and it's complete. It's gorgeous.
That's
I like
yeah.
awesome.
old antique stuff. I got a 3 day old L81 bottle cap.
3 day old.
Does that count? It's 3 days
It
old.
can if you wanted to. We can get
All
by
right,
with what we want.
who's
Oh,
next? Who's
manual.
next?
Calvin. Calvin's
Ben,
next.
Calvin's next, yeah.
Here we go.
Manual
Ben, Ben's
Calvin.
got my photos, or Kev's got my photos.
I got him.
Shout out to William.
Ooh, hell yeah!
Oh, that
Look
looks
at that.
great.
That's awesome.
That green and pink pops.
You don't
Look,
see
the pictures don't do it justice.
They were such a
what?
great team together.
Well, and you got his full auto on there too, where normally he just does the buff, but you got the full Marcus Alexander Bagwell on there. You don't see a lot of that. Very nice.
And there we go.
And this beautiful
Ooh,
thing.
a man called
Sting.
Sting.
That's
Every,
gorgeous.
every time I see Sting, I like that. I always think about his old theme music that was so like corny, but you just
He used
want
to
to
have that
hum it,
entire album. I loved it.
Yep.
But
Nice.
that's all I got. I'll have a whole lot more next week.
Yeah, you got a big package coming from me.
The
And
man
Ben.
calls me.
Oh, and Ben too. Okay.
The man
Who's-
calls me.
Is that Manuel singing?
It was. My
I
bad.
like the
Hey,
Ravishing
I thought
Rick
I was
Rude
muted.
one.
I thought I
see,
was
I
Simply
muted.
told you. I told you.
ravishing.
I told you when you see Sting, you want to sing his theme song.
The man calls
Steiner's had
me.
one on there. Steinerized.
Yep.
What? Dustin had one called The Natural.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
What you
That
got,
was
Ben?
that's a
Now
great
I
song.
used to sing the Natural song every time he came out. I don't know. It was a catchy tune.
Call him The Natural. Yeah, me
I
too.
think I think Ben's on mute.
Yeah.
Surely not.
Ben,
All right.
There
I
he is.
like I said, I don't have nothing over here, but Marin wanted me to show you that she got tonight. I don't know. I was sitting at pros. All right. This is one of her favorite Five Nights at Freddy's, the Vanny or Vanny, however you pronounce her name. But we found that tonight and uh, got that. But I guess just as for me, I want to give shout outs to Calvin. Uh, Calvin, every time he goes out, he looks for Wednesday Adams stuff for Marin. Like I said, she absolutely loved the backpack, the lunchbox, the I guess pencil holders, the pens, the bracelets. She Once we got it out, she was smiling from ear to ear and put the backpack on. She loved it. So thank you, Calvin. Uh, Also, thank you, Lou. Lou, she found the Kurt Hennig Rapist Crap Cowboy Monday Night War figure and the DDP for me. So thank you very much. Other than that, that's kind of all I had.
That's cool.
All right. Well,
All right,
ladies
Kev.
Kev.
and gentlemen, it's
All
my
right,
turn
Kev.
because
Let's
this
get it,
box
Kev.
has been here for about a week.
Go
And
ahead and open that camera up a little bit.
yeah, I got to do that. Thank you for reminding me. I forget this stuff. I'm such an amateur.
Come on, Kev. Get with the program.
I'm working.
Come
Okay,
on,
here we
Brian
go.
Knobs. Let's go. Rip it.
Rip it.
Oh shit! Shoot!
Hit him in the face.
Damn! That done busted my lip. I didn't know something was gonna fall out.
Come on, man.
You know, they call that gravity, Kev.
All right, guys, here we go. And okay, I got the straw. I got. Oh my gosh, guys!
Yep.
Oh my gosh, guys! Y'all,
Hell yeah.
you,
Calvin,
okay?
I
So
told you he was
Kev,
gonna cry.
Kev, let me talk real quick, Kev. I always tell everybody, and if any of y'all have ever talked to me one on one, y'all have heard me say this over and over. Kev is the best dad that I know. Kev dedicates his entire life to his children, and Kev is like the example of what a good dad should be. So, shout out to Kev, man.
Yep.
Hey,
Yep.
it's okay to have emotions, brother.
Oh
Hey,
my!
Kev, that it also glows in the dark.
Hell yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
speechless.
that thing's beautiful.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah.
That
Nice
like
job, Calvin. Nice job, man.
Hey,
Yep.
like I told you, it's from everybody.
Yep.
yeah, this is
I
this
just
is my
mailed it to
life.
you.
This is my life, and I wouldn't change it for anything in the world. And I will treasure this forever. Thank you so much.
Hey, you're welcome.
Oh, I don't know where to go from here, guys.
Doesn't it feel like Kev just won an Oscar?
I did. I mean, you don't know how much
Kev's Kev's
means.
like, I want to say thank you to God and fuck anybody that wasn't there to help me, and everybody have a good night.
All right, so
I
Look,
hey,
just think it's
I've
like
been
the
counting down for this.
Yeah, that's a
we'll.
big deal, man. Super excited. That's cool.
I
Man, I
think some.
love you guys. Thank you so much. It's you
I think
know,
somebody else might want to close the show out, so Kev can have his
yeah,
moment.
they're gonna have to because well, I'm just gonna say, I don't know. Most of I have an older autistic child and a younger one, and I spend my time, taking care of them, and I love it. I would never change anything, and I wouldn't change them from the world because that's why God put them with me, and that's why this just means so much to me,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
just thank you again.
You
All right,
know,
you got to take it.
I'll take it for you, Kev. So again, guys, Kev dedicates his whole life to his kids, man, and that's what it's all about. So, in closing, real quick, we've all seen some shit over the past 10 days. I mean, we have seen some shit in the world, and so many people that we've either shared moments with watching them on TV, or some of us knew personally. We've lost them recently, and you know, you got to take a minute to enjoy yourself and enjoy what's going on around you, and really enjoy the things that you share and spend your time with. And, you know, I'm not preaching, I'm just telling you how I feel. I talk straight from how I feel. I try to shoot straight from the collar. I mean, it is what it is. Enjoy the people that enjoy your company, spend your time with them. We have come so far as a group of friends that I want to say how much I truly appreciate all of you guys, and the guys watching too. I know a lot of people watch this on replay,
Mhm.
and it's not just about business. It's not just about selling stuff. It's not just about talking about stuff. It's about that bond. And so many times I've reached out to people one on one and said, "Hey man, what's going on?" Or they've reached out to me and said, "Hey man, what's going on?" And that's what it's all about. And really taking that moment to enjoy your time with people and them enjoying their time with you. And you know, we've seen a lot over the past week and a half, and it's been really rough, and you just never know what's around the corner. So I would say, in closing, spend time with those that care about you and that you care about, and spend your time with the things that you care about too. You know, if you got the green in your pocket and you got the opportunity to buy that pack of bubble gum that you always wanted, bubble gum is symbolic. It could be anything. It could be a Hulk Hogan picture. It could be a car. It could be a toy. It could be an antique. If you got that green in your pocket and you can do it, you can't take it
Yep.
with you, but you can enjoy it while you're here. And one thing I'm going to leave you with parting. This is one thing I'm going to leave you with parting. Everything you have, everything you'll ever have, and everything around you is borrowed. Nothing is permanent. Nothing is forever. And that also means the bad things in life are not permanent. So I want everybody to take that with them. And I want you to know how much I sincerely appreciate you and absolutely love you guys. And have a great night, everybody.